Chapter 1961. The male and female leads were destined to be enemies. First, they would be enemies. Once they had a scene where you hate me and I hate you, it would be easier for them to develop. Later on, hate would slowly turn into love. This was how it was written and how it was acted in TV dramas. Perhaps in the future, when the two of them were hugging in a corner, Zhang Yandong would say to Xiaolian affectionately, "It doesn't make sense for me to like you. I also think that you're cute when you steal. If you like to steal, then go ahead. I'll pay for it. Which house do you want to steal from? I'll buy that place for you to steal from." The system listened to Tang were reading these lines to it, and its whole body felt a little uncomfortable. He seriously doubted that the two of them would be so sweet because of the host's intervention. Tanghua accompanied Zhang Yandong outside. Under the bright lights, Xiaolian's mask was roughly pulled off by Madame Chen. She was tied up like a dumpling. Being stared at by a few people, she was extremely embarrassed, especially since Zhang Yandong was her esports idol. Although the two of them didn't know each other, she still felt very uncomfortable. Madame Chen didn't use force. She had been working here for a long time and had lived for most of her life. Even if the other party was a thief, if something happened to her, it would only cause more trouble for Miss Xiaogua. Now that she had subdued the thief, she just had to wait for the police to come and present some evidence. If she hit someone and used force, then there would be no reason to speak of, especially when she saw that the thief was a young girl. Madame Chen's expression turned ugly. She couldn't help but say, "Being a thief at such a young age, don't your parents care? Breaking into someone's house and stealing, which one of these isn't illegal? If you do something serious in the future, your life will be ruined." This Madame Chen usually liked to read social news when she had nothing to do. Moreover, she had a pair of children who were about the same age as Tanghua. Every time she saw those teenagers commit crimes and ruin their lives, she couldn't help but mutter a few words. She often said that children should be watched carefully and taught well. She couldn't let the child do something that they would regret for the rest of their lives. Otherwise, she would also regret it for the rest of her life. So when she saw Xiaolian, she couldn't help but say this. Xiaolian was not convinced after being reprimanded. She was from a family of godly thieves and usually didn't do anything bad. She just came to take two small things. Was it worth it to make such a big fuss? "Brother Yandong, who is the thief?" Zhang Yandong frowned as he looked at Xiaolian's fair little face and said, "It's a little girl about the same age as Xiaogua." "Oh, what did she steal?" Zhang Yandong glanced at the bag that had rolled to the side. "Let's wait for the police to come over and take a look. If we touch it, it's easy to erase her fingerprints." Zhang Yandong glanced coldly at Xiaolian, making her feel cold. Tanghua smiled and said, "Brother Yandong is really thoughtful. No matter who it is, they should be punished if they make a mistake. If after this incident, she can repent, that's good." "Yeah, at such a young age, learning to steal things is really bad." Madame Chen chimed in. Xiaolian's eyes were red. First, she felt humiliated, and second, she felt embarrassed. Being stared at like this, being caught red-handed, she really couldn't stand it. Not long after, the alarm sounded. Chapter 1962. Yeah, that's what happened. I didn't expect that a thief would really break in. Luckily, I didn't feel safe before, so I got people to strengthen the villa's defenses. Tanghua smiled and said, "Anything else? Is there anything else you want to ask?" "Oh yeah, what did she steal?" "Some accessories, belts, and accessories." The police officers helped to check. They even went to the crime scene and took Xiaolian's fingerprints. They also found 2 strands of hair on Zhang Yandong's mattress. Zhang Yandong looked at the 2 strands of hair in the transparent bag and thought about how his bed had been taken by a thief. He looked like he was about to break down. Xiaolian saw that Zhang Yandong was looking at her with a cold gaze. It was as if a knife was going to peel off a layer of her skin. She felt a chill all over her body. She looked at the police officers who were so professional as they carefully checked every spot where she had committed the crime. Her neck was also a little cold. Although the things she had stolen weren't worth much, it was still illegal to break into a private house and steal things. The scariest thing was that she had been caught red-handed. Now, what she wanted the most was to be taken away quickly so that her grandfather could use his connections to get her out. She didn't want to stay in Zhang Yandong's house for a moment longer. Perhaps they had heard Xiao Lian's thoughts, because she was finally taken away after 20 minutes. There was no way she could escape. Her face had been seen and her fingerprints had been taken. She was a high school student in the day. If she didn't want to make a big fuss and become a target of scorn, she could only follow obediently, because the things Xiao Lian had stolen weren't worth much. So the final punishment was a fine and detention. Just these 2 points alone were enough to make Xiao Lian feel terrible. After all, this incident had already left a criminal record and was a stain on her record. When Tangwa found out that Xiao Lian had been taken out in less than 2 days, she wasn't disappointed at all. There was still a long way to go. This was just an appetizer. What was the hurry? Now, she was waiting for the big one. Xiao Lian's grandfather would probably make a move on the biggest night luminescent pearl, right? The person who was able to get Xiao Lian out so easily was most likely someone entrusted to him by Xiao Lian's grandfather. What if Xiao Lian's grandfather failed to steal the night luminescent pearl and got caught? Not only that, if the theft that Xiao Lian's grandfather had done was exposed and evidence was presented, would there really be anyone who would bail him out? On this day, Zhang Yandong had a competition. After staying at home for a long time and teaching Xiao Lian's Tanghua lesson, she felt a little bored and decided to go to the competition site to listen to what the competition was like. Lin Xian didn't know how to respond to Tanghua's words. It should be said that it was his first time coming to such a lively place. This was the first time he had taken the initiative to help a pretty girl. No, it should be said that there had never been any girls around him before, but only smelly young men. Speaking of which, I haven't been here in a long time, Tanghua said. I don't know what's the difference between listening to the competition and watching it. This sentence contained a lot of information. Lin Xian sat in his seat and thought for a moment. He understood something. Chapter 1964. Although Lin Xian understood something, he did not ask why. It was not good to poke at someone's pain in front of them. Although he spent most of his time on the mountain and had little contact with the outside world, his master and uncles had taught him very strictly since he was young. They did not ask about people's pain or poke at their weaknesses. Listening to a competition should be a good experience. Tanghua, is that so? But what's the point of watching an esports competition? If you can't see the competition between the two sides, the exciting moments of victory, and the nervous expressions of the players and the cheers, it will always feel like the competition is lacking a lot of color. But you can hear it more clearly. The human brain's imagination is rich and colorful. You can combine these different sounds into more exciting scenes. It's also very interesting, Tanghua said stubbornly, but I want to see it even more, even if it's not as interesting as imagined. Lin Xian looked at the girl beside him who could not see the world. Listening to her stubborn words, he fell into a dilemma. Usually, when he heard his master and uncles talking to people, they were all very reasonable. Why did it not work when it came to him? Yes, he liked to see the world. Could it be the same if he could see it, and if he could not? Tanghua could sense the other party's distress, and the corners of her lips curled up into a smile. The system reacted quickly and scanned Lin Xian. Finally, it said to Tanghua, "Dear host, is this little bald head your most adorable?" Tanghua, he's really bald? Yes, he's bald and has no hair. But he's not wearing a monk's robe. He's wearing sportswear, and it's a branded sportswear. It's not cheap. I scanned it. The shoes are about 5,000 yuan. Anyway, the whole outfit adds up to about 10,000 yuan. Are all little monks this rich these days? Oh right, he's also wearing a mechanical watch. It's not cheap. Of all the things he has, only his phone is cheaper. If he's so rich, I really don't understand why he wants to be a little monk. Could it be that he did not fulfill that wish in his previous life and wants to experience it in this life? Dear host, do you still want to be a monk? Tanghua, then help me scan his head. See if there's a monk's scar on his head. I don't think so. That's good. Since he doesn't have any scars, he's most likely a fake monk. There's nothing else to worry about. Didn't you say that he wasn't a real monk based on what he was wearing? What if there are scars? The system could not help but ask. Tanghua smiled and said, "Then I'll say something nice to coax him and ask him to return to the secular world. He should agree." System. All right. He's convinced. It's just as the host said. If that guy with no moral integrity was really coaxed by the host, even if he was a senior monk, he would probably obediently return to the secular world. Does it look good? When the system heard Tangwa's words, it almost spat out blood. She couldn't see, but the first thing she did was to ask if she was good-looking. Since when did its host become a dog for looks? He's very good-looking. Although he's bald, it can't hide his sparkling good looks. There are many young ladies looking at him. They're still discussing why a handsome young man like him shaved all his hair for no reason. Maybe I can help a little. Lin Xian's words interrupted the conversation between Tangwa and the system. Help me? Chapter 1965. Yes, I can help you. Lin Xian thought of a good idea just now. Tangwa asked curiously, how are you going to help me? When the competition starts later, and we reach the exciting part, I'll tell you. How about that? At this point, Lin Xian hesitated and asked, you should have seen those heroes before and are familiar with those skills, right? That's right. I've seen them before and I'm familiar with them. Then I'll try to tell you later and see if you can understand. Lin Xian didn't know why, but he just wanted to help her. He had been sent to live in a temple on the mountain for special reasons since he was young. His food, clothing, housing, and transportation were all settled there. Most of his life was no different from that of a real monk on the mountain. But he knew since he was young that he would return to the bustling city. Initially, he didn't plan to go down the mountain. He was already used to the scenery and everything on the mountain. Even if he wanted to be a real monk, it would not be difficult for him. His family had originally planned to bring him back to the city when he turned 18. Last year, he celebrated his 18th birthday and rejected his family's offer to bring him down the mountain. Furthermore, he told everyone that he planned to become a monk straight away. He didn't have much interest in this colorful city. At that time, no one in his family or anyone else could persuade him. In the end, everyone gave him a year to consider. If he didn't change his mind after a year, they would respect his choice. Until last month, he hadn't changed his mind. Almost everyone around him had given up hope on this matter. However, more than half a month ago, he had a dream. He dreamed of a bustling city. He had never been to the city before, but he could clearly see everything in the city. It was so noisy, but he felt that the entire city was very quiet. Moreover, he heard slow footsteps. No, other than the sound of footsteps, there was another sound. Tap, tap, tap. It was a little like the sound of the girl beside him tapping on his face with a guide stick. No one believed that he would give up being a monk and choose to return to the city and be a layman again because of a dream. The game hasn't started yet. Lin Xian's eyes fell on the sound of the blind guiding stick in Tangwa's hand. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that in addition to the slow footsteps in his dream, the other sound was made by this stick. Is there a problem? Tangwa looked at Lin Xian. I keep feeling that you're looking at me. I'm thinking about how to recite the exciting match for you later. Finally, it was time for the competition. The audience was boiling with excitement as they watched the contestants come up one by one. At this moment, Tangwa asked Lin Xian, can you help me check out a contestant with the codename J? What does he look like now? System. Bad woman. When Lin Xian heard Tangwa's words, he was slightly stunned. He actually had a purpose for coming to watch the match today. One of his goals was to get a closer look at the genius player codenamed J. Unexpectedly, the girl beside him seemed to care about him as well. He looks fine and calm. He should be full of confidence for this match. Really? Looks like Brother Yin Dong is very confident about this match. Tangwa said happily. Lin Xian thought about her words. Brother Yin Dong? Chapter 1966. Do you know this contestant? Lin Xian asked directly after recalling that sentence. Tangwa smiled and nodded. Yes, I know him. Lin Xian observed her cousin carefully. He had a bald head and was frowning. Are you on good terms with him? Very close. Tangwa continued. We are engaged. System. Ah, so that's how it is? Lin Xian was silent. He also remembered that he had seen Jay's information before. It was written that he had a fiancée who was 1 year younger than him. She seemed to be blind. He had also seen the details. The reason why she was blind was because her eyes and hands were injured when she was protecting Zhang Yandong. It was said that many doctors were invited to take a look at her, but they all said that she was permanently blind and could not be cured. Because of some neurological reasons, even if there was a treatment plan, with the current medical standards, it was impossible to perform surgery. As for her hands, they seemed to have been used to practice the piano. It was said that the next month after the accident, she was preparing to go abroad to participate in a competition. Oh right, not only was she good at playing the piano, she also knew how to draw. She had also won an award before. Many people praised her, saying that her drawings were very spiritual. It was that accident that although Jiang Yandong was saved, it destroyed 2 of her dreams. It turned out that this legendary fiancée of Jiang Yandong was sitting beside him. Such a good girl. No wonder Jiang Yandong did not hesitate to choose to be engaged to her. It was only right to take care of her for a lifetime. Mr. Lin, I'll have to trouble you later to help me describe Brother Yin Dong's performance. Is that okay? Hearing the girl's request, Lin Xian replied, okay. He was mainly here to see Jiang Yandong, this esports genius. Perhaps in the near future, they would become rivals. That's right. After he left the mountain, he had not thought of what to do. He also did not want to go abroad to study. Although he was on the mountain, he did not neglect his studies. It was quiet on the mountain. Besides martial arts, he also learned other things. He learned everything that he needed to learn. Just as he was about to do something, he was dragged to the club by his cousins, who said that they wanted to bring him to play esports. At first, he was unwilling, but later, he was brought along to play a few rounds. In any case, he was considered a little expert, and the flexibility of his fingers was definitely better than that of others. Things like playing games were much easier. After playing it, he found that it was not bad. Thus, he agreed to join his cousin's club and play with him for a few years. His cousins said that their only opponent was Jiang Yandong's team. Every year, they were defeated by Jiang Yandong. They all had high hopes for him, so they asked him to check on Jiang Yandong's situation and figure out the enemy's ins and outs. They said that the hope of their entire village was on him. He had only come here with a playful attitude. He didn't expect to have such a different experience. Seeing Jiang Yandong sitting on the esports chair, looking high-spirited, and then looking at the girl sitting beside him, looking serious. Even if she couldn't see, she still wanted to study by herself. He also became serious. When the competition started, Lin Xian softly whispered in Tang Guo's ear, describing Jiang Yandong's every move. His observation was very clear and detailed. System Tang Guo. This little brother's voice is quite nice. System. Go to hell. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, follow Advanced Study Literature on WeChat, talk about life, and find friends. Chapter 1967. Lin Xian observed Tang Guo's expression as he narrated the highlights of the competition. Looking at her smiling face, for some reason, he felt a little stifled in his heart. It had to be said that Jiang Yandong was known as an esports genius because he was really capable. In the competition, with the full cooperation of his teammates, he simply took the lead and became a one-man show. It was also because of Jiang Yandong's undefeated reputation that his teammates were willing to sacrifice themselves for him. This was a team competition. As long as they could win, and Jiang Yandong was capable, they were of course willing to sacrifice themselves for the shared glory. As long as this team continued to win, although they could not surpass Jiang Yandong in terms of glory, they would still gain a lot of glory. Lin Xian also had to admit that even though Jiang Yandong was an ordinary person, in terms of gaming, he was indeed very outstanding. He was very strong, and his skills, all kinds of predictions and positioning were very tricky. Especially the calculation of damage and health points, it was very accurate. Not only did this require hand speed, but it also required brain power and fast calculation skills. None of these could be missing. He looked at Tang Guo's happy smile and became more serious in his narration, trying to observe Jiang Yandong's every strength and weakness. After all, this was his future opponent. Of course, in the end, Jiang Yandong's team won. Brother Yindong, as expected, is still so good. That's great. Hearing Tang Guo's generous praise, Lin Xian could not help but want to turn around and ask his cousin to equip him with equipment. He wanted to train hard in the game. The opponent was so strong, he could not underestimate them. Tang Guo, Tongzi, This bald little brother's narration is really interesting. System Tangwa. Yeah, his voice is nice, his narration is good, and he's also a handsome bald little brother. There's really no other person in this world like him. Tangwa and the system were talking, but in Lin Xian's eyes, her smile was automatically interpreted as her being happy for Zhang Yandong. He saw that Zhang Yandong was surrounded by countless fans, and Tangwa was sitting in her seat with a face full of smiles. He could not help but ask, "Do you need me to bring you to see him? Then I'll have to trouble you." Lin Xian held the other end of the blind guide stick and brought Tangwa to Zhang Yandong's seat. Those fans were too crazy. They kept surrounding him, and he could not bring her in. There are too many people looking for his autograph. We might have to wait. Tangwa smiled and said, "Let's wait." She was not in a hurry anyway. She was not interested in seeing Zhang Yandong. After waiting for about 20 minutes, Lin Xian saw that more and more people were arriving. He whispered to her, "Why don't you give him a call?" "That's right. You're right." Chapter 1968. Xiaogua. In the end, the person who discovered Tangwa was a member of Zhang Yandong's team. His name was Wen Yunyang. He saw Tangwa standing in the corner. There was also a bald guy holding the other end of the blind guiding stick. It looked like he was helping her. He hurriedly walked to Tangwa's side. "Did you come here alone to look for Yin Dong?" "Yes, brother Yin Dong seems to be very busy." "Wait a moment. I'll go and call him." "Why didn't you come and look for us directly? You wouldn't have to wait here if you wanted to." When Yunyang's voice gradually faded away, Tangwa was still smiling. Although she knew everyone in the team, she did not have any contact with them. However, she did not have their contact information at all. In the past, she had only watched their competitions from below the stage. She had never gone backstage to look for them. This was because she had always thought that if she went to look for them, she would cause trouble for Zhang Yandong. She would distract him and affect the competition. If she went to disturb him and his teammates, would it make them uncomfortable or something? The original owner was too considerate. If she was polite, she would feel unfamiliar with people. Fortunately, these teammates often came to the villa to play. They were more familiar with each other, but they were not familiar with her. This was because she had always been quiet in front of them. She never talked much to them. This was because she liked Zhang Yandong. If she talked to other guys besides Zhang Yandong, it might cause unnecessary misunderstandings. As for her teammates, they also thought that she was gentle and distant, so they didn't get along well with her. Soon, Zhang Yandong apologized to his teammates and ran over to Tangwa. "Xiaogua, why are you here?" "I suddenly wanted to listen to Brother Yindong's competition. I haven't been here in a long time." Hearing Tangwa's words, Zhang Yandong was stunned. Yes, ever since the accident, she had never come to the competition venue or watch any of his competitions. In the past, when she could see, she would come to almost every one of his matches. "Why didn't you tell me that you were coming?" "It's not safe to come here alone," Tangwa said, "because a kind person helped me." Just as she spoke, she realized that the other end of the blind guiding stick had lost its power. "Brother Yindong, the person who helped me just now seemed to have left. Do you see anyone else beside me?" Zhang Yandong looked around. "No, he should have left." "Oh, I haven't had the chance to thank him." "Come on, let's go in first. We'll go home together later." Lin Xian, who had already walked out of the arena, turned his head back and saw Tangwa being led in by Zhang Yandong. He felt a little depressed. He walked out slowly and accidentally overheard the girls' discussion. "Who is that girl beside Zhang Zhang? She seems to be blind." "Oh, that's Zhang Yandong's fiancée. You can search for her online." "Fiancée?" The girl who spoke was a little surprised. Why would our Zhang Zhang be engaged to a blind person? What's her background? "Sure, don't talk nonsense. There are many reasons. If Zhang Zhang knows that we are talking like this, he will not be happy. Although I also think that Zhang Zhang should have a very good person with him, it seems that there is no other way," another girl said regretfully. Lin Xian's brows never relaxed. Was there anyone in the city who spoke like this? If they were in the temple on the mountain, they would be beaten up by the entire temple. Chapter 1969. Yandong, didn't we agree to go to the karaoke? Why are you going back now? Zhang Yandong's teammates couldn't help but ask as they watched him pack up his things and walk over with Tanguo to say goodbye. According to tradition, we have won again today, so we should go and celebrate. The person who spoke was called Tong Huai. He was the third male lead of the original female lead, Xiaolian. He had a rather sunny and handsome appearance, and his words were loud and straightforward. He was the least scheming youth in the entire team. When Yunyang, who had come to greet Tanguo, was the second male lead of this world. He had a good temper, was polite, and had a high IQ. He was well-rounded in everything he did. He was also the one that Xiaolian, the female lead, was most attached to. Under these circumstances, everyone knew that Zhang Yandong was going to take Tanguo back. They knew that today's gathering was probably not going to happen. Most of them wouldn't say anything. They would probably choose another time to gather again. Plus, there were plenty of opportunities like this. After all, their team had always been victorious. Ever since Zhang Yandong joined, they had never lost a single match. However, Tong Huai was more direct in everything he did. At such an important moment, Zhang Yandong had left with Tanguo. That was not very nice. Zhang Yandong was an important member of the team. Now that Tong Huai had said that, he felt a little awkward. Tanguo said, "Brother Yandong, did you guys agree to have a gathering?" "Yeah, but it's okay. There are plenty of gatherings like this." Zhang Yandong whispered to Tanguo. He knew that gatherings could be held at any time. He definitely couldn't leave Tanguo aside. That would be unkind. "I'll tell them that I won't be going today. Brother Yandong's team won. It's only right for them to have a gathering. It's not very good for them to leave because of me, right?" That was the personality of the original owner. She would always think for Zhang Yandong. Even though she was in the right, the weak, and the one who should be taken care of, she still couldn't help but care about everything about Zhang Yandong. It was normal for him to say something like that at this moment. Zhang Yandong was a little hesitant. Indeed, today's opening match was very important to their entire team. If it weren't for Tanguo's sudden arrival, he wouldn't have missed such a gathering. "Actually, it's not that difficult. Why don't we bring Xiao Guo to the party? We can take care of her. It won't be a problem," Wen Yunyang suggested when he saw Zhang Yandong's awkward expression. Actually, this could have been done, but Zhang Yandong always felt that Tanguo's eyesight was not good. It would not be good to bring her there, and it would cause trouble for others. Yes, he was thinking about causing trouble for others, not whether she would be all right. Even if he felt guilty and liked her a little, he was happy to be cared for by her. But in the depths of his heart, he couldn't lie to anyone. He cared about his team members the most. In the end, Zhang Yandong brought Tanguo to the party. These were all half-grown boys. Once they started to make a fuss, they would always neglect other things. Tanguo sat in the corner and listened to the noise in the private room. She held a glass of juice in her hand and maintained a smile on her face. Zhang Yandong was singing, talking, and drinking with his teammates the whole time. The atmosphere was so high that he had already forgotten about the quiet girl in the corner. Chapter 1970. If you didn't like someone that much, you wouldn't care too much about her. Even if you suddenly thought of her, you would only feel a little guilty. When she said that she was fine, the guilt would slowly decrease. Once or twice, you would feel guilty. Once or twice, you would get used to it. The original owner's actions left a quiet and sensible impression in everyone's mind. So when she realized that she had no choice but to grab onto the person she liked and try to grab onto him, it would be annoying if it happened more frequently, if she was a little uneasy and nervous. Those who thought that she was sensible and obedient would think that she was arrogant because she was pampered and became insensible and willful. If you don't cry or make a fuss, who knows what you need? If you were too obedient, it would become a matter of course in some people's eyes. The system asked with concern. After all, this private room was really noisy, but this noise and joy didn't belong to her. The group of youths were already immersed in the joy of victory. Zhang Yandong didn't bring her into that world. Pretty good. Tanguo's lips curled into a smile. "I'm wondering when I'll be able to meet that little bald brother again." System. All right. The system observed Tanguo and realized that there was nothing wrong with her. She maintained everything as it was, probably because she didn't want to give Zhang Yandong any chance at all. Then, He did something on his own and went to find the whereabouts of the little bald brother, Lin Xian. Since the host was so concerned about the little bald brother, then he would help the host find out what he was doing now. Not long after, the system found Lin Xian and realized that he was watching videos in a room of a villa. It wasn't any other videos, but gaming videos. He took a closer look and realized that the gaming videos were all about Zhang Yandong. Then, he found a small notebook filled with many words beside Lin Xian. After scanning it carefully, he realized that the contents of the notebook were basically strengths, weaknesses, strengths, loopholes. The system was stunned. This guy was actually studying every single video of Zhang Yandong's competition. And he started from the video of Zhang Yandong entering the esports scene. He even analyzed everything about Zhang Yandong. The system shuddered and left silently. Although this guy hadn't realized that he might have a special feeling for the host. But what was left in the subconscious would not change. She was already analyzing the enemy's weakness before she was even tempted. Amazing, the host cutie. Tanghua smiled and asked, "What are you doing?" The system told Tanghua what it saw and realized that his energy had increased crazily for a while. He couldn't help but be speechless. That guy really knew how to please his host. A serious person will definitely achieve the greatest victory. I hope that he can lead his team and defeat Zhang Yandong, the esports genius. System. Whatever the host says, that day will definitely come soon. ASEAN, didn't you say before that it was just for fun? Why are you so serious now? The person who patted Lin Xian's shoulder was Lin Xian's cousin. He was also the person who had pulled him into the esports club to play. This club was set up by a few youths from the Lin family who were passionate about esports. It was also very popular with many fans. It should be said that compared to Zhang Yandong's team, this team was more likable. Chapter 1972. Really? Tanghua asked with a smile. Her eyes were clearly lifeless, but Lin Xian felt that her entire body was emitting a gentle glow. This glow was constantly attracting him to get closer to her. He did not know what was wrong with him. He had clearly lived a peaceful life for 19 years, but a trip to a bustling city had stirred up his quiet heart. Really, I'll bring you in. Then I'll have to trouble you. Just like before, Lin Xian held the other end of the blind guiding stick and walked sideways. He paid attention to Tangua's surroundings and brought her into the competition venue. He brought her to her seat and only heaved a sigh of relief when she sat down. The system could not hold it in any longer. Tanghua was baffled. What should I be careful of? Of him tricking me into going back? I can't wait. System. Go to hell, that seems to be the case. Besides, who doesn't scheme when they live in this world? He recognized me and swapped tickets with someone else. He was really trying to help me. System. Seems like it. I don't want to back down anymore. Lin Xian's explanation of an intense competition was exceptionally interesting. Seeing that Tanghua was listening with great interest, his lips curled into a smile. When it was finally over, he finally remembered that Tanghua might have come for Zhang Yandong. He hesitated for a moment, then asked reluctantly, "Do you need my help to bring you to Zhang Yandong?" "Brother Yandong, don't you look very busy?" "He is very busy. There are many female fans surrounding him asking for his autograph. But with your relationship with him, he should come over." Tanghua shook her head. "Forget it. I'll have to trouble Mr. Lin to bring me out. If I disturb Brother Yandong every time, I'll bring him trouble. They won again today, so they'll definitely go for a meal and karaoke. I'll only bring them trouble if I go over." Lin Xian did not say much and brought Tanghua out. He could not comment on other people's affairs. He only felt that this was a very persistent girl, so he chose to respect her. At the same time, he felt that it was a pity. If only her eyes could see, her life would be very good. Why is there only one person coming out every time? "Mr. Lin, do you think that I should stay at home and not go anywhere because I can't see? It's not like my legs are broken. Even if my legs are broken, I can still travel with the help of tools." "No, that's not what I meant," Lin Xian said nervously. "What I meant was that it might be better to find someone to accompany you. I don't think I need it because I can use tools to go wherever I want like a normal person. Even if we run into trouble, Aren't there kind-hearted people like Mr. Lin around? Lin Xian wanted to say that he didn't appear every time. However, he glanced at the competition venue behind him. Perhaps he would appear in any of Jiang Yandong's matches. Chapter 1973. Hearing Jiang Yandong's footsteps, Tangwa stopped him. Brother Yindong, did something happen? You just came back and you want to go out? Yes, something did happen. What happened? Xiaogua, don't worry. Nothing happened to me. There was some conflict among the fans today. Someone splashed chili water on me. Jiang Yandong told the truth. Seeing Tangwa's worried face, he hurriedly said, Don't worry, I'm fine. It was another fan who suddenly pounced on me and blocked it for me. But she seems to have fallen and is currently being sent to the hospital. I'm going over to take a look. Then be careful. You must thank the other party. Tangwa's smile remained unchanged. Was it the same as what she had guessed? If it was the same, the world's will was really good to the female lead. Originally, there was such a thing, but Jiang Yandong dodged quickly and was not splashed. She suspected that the fan who suddenly flew over and pounced on Jiang Yandong was Xiao Lian. The system quickly explained the matter. Xiao Lian planned to secretly watch Jiang Yandong. Because of the previous incident, she had not come to watch Jiang Yandong's competition for a long time. But after thinking about it, she still felt aggrieved. Moreover, she was a fan of Adonis for so long. She felt a little indignant and planned to watch from the corner. The previous incident could not be explained clearly. In the future, she would just be a passerby fan. Even if Jiang Yandong was a little annoying before, he was indeed a genius. She did not expect that accident to happen. At that time, Xiao Lian did not even think about it. She directly rushed over with her agile skills and blocked in front of him. But she forgot that she was wearing a miniskirt and small high heels. She did not land steadily and hurt herself. After hearing this, Tangwa's feelings were complicated. Then, was the scene between a man and a woman about to start? Even if Xiao Lian was a thief and had a bad impression of her before, Jiang Yandong's impression of her would change greatly after this incident. Brother Yindong, be careful. All right, go to bed early. After Jiang Yandong left, Tangwa really went to bed after washing up. She wondered how the bald guy's game training was going. For the next few days, Tangwa could feel the changes in Jiang Yandong. Sometimes she could feel that he was angry, and sometimes he was laughing. Tangwa said faintly, If that's the case, should I go to the hospital to see Brother Yindong's savior? Tangwa directly called Wen Yunyang to explain her intentions. Yes. Fortunately, this kind-hearted fan helped Brother Yindong. How about it? I have to thank him. System. The host has a strong taste of green tea. Have you eaten it before? Wen Yunyang told Tangwa the hospital's address and ward number. Then, she took the guide stick and the gift and went to the hospital. At the door of the ward, Tangwa gently knocked on the door and then pushed it open. She stood at the door and asked, Excuse me, is this Miss Xiao's ward? Miss Xiao, are you there? I am Brother Yindong's fiancé. Previously, Brother Yindong was almost injured. Fortunately, you helped. Today, I specially came to thank you. Chapter 1974. It was quiet in the ward. Tangwa stood at the door with a guide stick in one hand and a gift for the patient in the other, with a sweet smile on her face. What were Xiao Lian and Jiang Yandong doing? Because the two of them were enemies, they had fought in the ward before. Then, it was very melodramatic. The two of them had a very intimate action. Xiao Lian almost fell again, and Jiang Yandong naturally caught her quickly. Because of inertia, the two of them fell on the bed together. When Tangwa opened the door, their lips just touched. System. Angry. Jiang Yandong was really a scumbag. He had a fiancée, but he still played with other girls. Tangwa smiled in her heart and continued to ask, Is Miss Xiao here? Hearing Tangwa's voice, Xiao Lian finally came to her senses and pushed Jiang Yandong away. Jiang Yandong staggered back and hit the wall behind him. He hissed in pain. Miss Xiao, what's wrong with you? It was obviously an accident, but Xiao Lian felt a little guilty. She steadied her breath and said, I'm fine. It's just that the wound hurts a little. Oh, then I'm right. You're the Miss Xiao who helped Brother Yindong, right? Xiao Lian said weakly, "Yes, it's me. Miss Xiao, thank you very much." Tangwa gently closed the door and slowly walked to the bed. "Thank you for helping Brother Yindong." If the chilly water was really poured into his eyes, it would have a great impact on him. He loves his dreams. If there was something wrong with his eyes, he would be very sad. "Thank you." You're welcome. I'm also his fan. I also hope that he can go further and further on this road and continue to burn his dreams. The more Xiaolian said, the more guilty she felt. It was just an accident, but she always felt a little afraid to face Tanghua. Fortunately, the other party was blind. Brother Yindong? When Zhang Yandong was about to retreat slowly while Tanghua and Xiaolian were talking, Tanghua's sudden voice startled them both. "Is it Brother Yindong? I can smell you." Zhang Yandong's face was a little pale. How could he forget that ever since Xiaogua lost his sight, his ears and nose had become especially sensitive? Anyone who was slightly closer to her would be able to sense that something was amiss. Just when he didn't know how to explain, Xiaolian said, Jiang, did you come with your fiancée? She's really beautiful." "No, I arrived later." "Did Xiaogua just arrive?" Zhang Yandong breathed a sigh of relief and asked Xiaolian in a polite and distant tone, "How are you today?" "Not bad. There aren't any problems. You can be discharged in 2 days." Tanghua then said, "So Brother Yindong just came in?" "Yeah, I just came in. I didn't even have time to greet Xiaogua before you noticed me." Zhang Yandong's voice was trembling as he lied. He sat beside Tanghua and held her hand. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" "I called Brother Yindong earlier, but it seemed like no one picked up. Then I asked Wen Yunyang, and he was the one who told me the address." Zhang Yandong touched his phone and finally found it in a corner on the ground. When he saw the missed calls, he felt a little embarrassed. He must have not heard it when he was fighting with Xiaolian earlier. Maybe I was too busy before and didn't notice. Chapter 1975. In the ward, Xiaolian endured the awkwardness and fear. Tanghua thanked her with a smile, and her speech was a little incoherent. Especially the awkward scene when she fought with Zhang Yandong. It made her feel even more guilty. Fortunately, Tanghua didn't stay for long and left the ward with Zhang Yandong. When Zhang Yandong closed the ward door, Xiaolian couldn't help but glare at him. "Brother Yindong, what's wrong?" Zhang Yandong was stunned by the glare. Tanghua instantly realized that something was wrong with him and called out. Zhang Yandong woke up. Xiaolian also shrank her neck and stuck her tongue out at him. He quickly closed the door and answered casually, "Nothing. Xiaogua, in the future, you must tell me first. I can bring you to see the patient, okay?" Thinking about what happened before, Zhang Yandong still had a lingering fear. A sentence that he shouldn't have said flashed in his heart. Fortunately, Xiaogua couldn't see it. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how to end today. "Brother Yindong, in the future, you must not miss my call." Hearing Tanghua's words, Zhang Yandong didn't know how to respond. Yes, Tanghua had called him before. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come directly. "I will pay attention next time." Tanghua just smiled at this sentence and didn't take it seriously. When Zhang Yandong was busy, he went to the club, played games, and did things that attracted him. He wouldn't miss the original host. This was just a young man who loved esports. He didn't know what responsibility and love were. The two of them slowly walked back. Even if there was nothing, Zhang Yandong couldn't stay in the villa. He usually used the excuse of leaving the villa to go to the club. The original owner knew that he cared a lot about his dream, so of course, she didn't hesitate to send him away. Knowing that he was working hard for his dream, she was only worried about his body and didn't think about anything else. She didn't know that Zhang Yandong's promise was more of guilt than anything else. He thought that they would be able to stay like this forever. "Tongzi, what do you think if I open a social media account?" System, he couldn't blame the system for asking this. If he couldn't see with his eyes, what was the point of opening a social media account? "That's not true. Can't you just send a voice message or a video message?" "I'll just post a voice message about Zhang Yandong every day. It should attract a lot of attention," the system said weakly. "Host, you're definitely up to something." Ever since she had taught Xiaolian a lesson, she had not done anything else. He didn't believe that the host would forget to teach Xiaolian a lesson because of the bald guy. The goal is to let everyone know what kind of person the fiancé of Jiang Yandong, the genius esports player, is, Tanghua said faintly. No matter how good a person is, there is no way for outsiders to understand her. When she is weak, Jiang Yandong's halo is enough to cover everything. Everything will fall on her. What if the outsiders know me well? The system seemed to have understood something. Sure enough, he knew that Jiang Yandong and Xiaolian wouldn't have it easy. Tanghua's lips curved. Then help me open an account first. I'm going to share something with everyone later. The system trembled and opened an account for Tanghua. Chapter 1976. Today should be a beautiful day. Brother Yin Dong went to the club for training again. I hope everything goes well for him today. The sun shines in warmly from outside the window. I suddenly want to know what the color of summer is. I almost forgot. The system watched silently. Tanghua used her phone to record the scenery outside the window as she spoke in a sweet and gentle voice. Her love for Jiang Yandong, as well as her regret for forgetting the color of summer, made one's heart ache when they heard it. Tanghua changed the name of her social media account to Xiaogua, who hopes Brother Yin Dong will be happy today. The name was long, but it was attractive enough. When the video was uploaded, it attracted a lot of attention. With the help of the system, Tanghua's social media account was quickly spread by many people. In a short time, many people were paying attention to it. Even people from the club saw it. When Yunyang saw the video, he couldn't see because the person who took the video was blind. There was clearly a beautiful scenery outside the window, but she only managed to capture a part of it. More than half of it only captured the wall. Coupled with her voice, it made one's heart ache. Yindong, is this your fiancé's account? Tong Huai, who was as carefree as ever, raised his phone in front of Jiang Yandong. Look, your fiancé actually has a social media account. She even took a video, but it seems to be crooked. That's right. She can't see, so she can't capture the outside clearly. Jiang Yandong opened the video and listened to Tanghua's words. He felt a little guilty and said, I won't go to the gathering today. Xiaogua is too lonely. I'll go back and accompany her. Not only that, he also unlocked his phone, logged into his social media account, and followed Tanghua's new account. Jiang Yandong was an esports genius. Since he became famous, many people were paying attention to him. The number of people he followed was only a few. Just as he started following Tanghua, the fans found out about it. Then, those who still had doubts also believed that this new social media account really belonged to Jiang Yandong's fiancé. People with all kinds of thoughts began to pay attention to Tanghua. Tanghua listened to the system telling her that the number of fans was skyrocketing. There was a smile on her lips. This was just as she thought. As long as Jiang Yandong followed her, her account would attract a lot of attention. And most of these people who were paying attention were Jiang Yandong's fans. There could be malice in this, but there could also be curiosity. No matter what they were thinking, from the day they started paying attention to her, she would show them the true host. As long as Jiang Yandong dared to cheat on her, she would make his fans hate him as much as they liked him in the beginning. You're the master of the esports world, yet you still want to wash your hands clean after cheating. Dream on. When Jiang Yandong came back, he saw Tanghua holding her phone and listening to the messages under her account. This was an auxiliary tool that could be used to read messages. Xiaogua, Brother Yindong, why are you so early today? Jiang Yandong sat beside her and glanced at her phone. Why did you think of opening a social media account? I wanted to find something to do, but I couldn't do anything else, so I opened an account to record my feelings. I want to share with everyone the happy things that Brother Yindong and I are doing. Jiang Yandong certainly wouldn't say anything at this time. Let's go out and have fun today? Sure. Chapter 1977. Not only did Tanghua agree to go out with Jiang Yandong, she even made Jiang Yandong record a video on the spot. Of course, this time, Jiang Yandong was the one holding the phone, so he wouldn't miss the shot this time. Tanghua faced the camera happily. Regardless of whether they saw it or not, anyone who watched the video could feel her happiness. Brother Yin Dong came back early today. We're going out to play. After this video was posted, it caused another stir. On the way, they met many good places that Jiang Yandong talked about. Tangwa would make a video with him as a souvenir. Today, Jiang Yandong felt especially guilty. Naturally, he would do whatever she said. System, scum, you're done for. This is the host's gentle trap. Jiang Yandong's fans went crazy. In the morning, they were still questioning whether this social media account was fake. Now that Jiang Yandong appeared in the video, and it was even a live video, the screen was full of jealousy. Then, everyone left comments. Most of them were, Jiang is so gentle. Jiang's fiancé is so happy. If I can be with Jiang, I'm willing to lose anything. Fans were sometimes so crazy. Almost no one would mention what this girl had done for Jiang Yandong. When Tangwa heard the system's feedback, she wasn't angry at all. What was there to be anxious about? It was only the first day. These were all Jiang Yandong's fans. Naturally, they would speak up for him and pay attention to him. She would let everyone slowly understand what kind of person she was. Xiaolian, who had already been discharged from the hospital, was also informed that Jiang Yandong's fiancé had opened a social media account. She logged in and saw the videos that were updated in real time. In the video, Tangwa and Jiang Yandong appeared together. It made her feel inexplicably uncomfortable. She quickly closed the video, but couldn't help but click on the follow button. Xian, what are you looking at? Linley noticed that Lin Xian was staring at his phone with great interest. He didn't even hear what Linley was saying. He walked over and found that Lin Xian was actually looking at Tangwa's social media account. He patted Lin Xian on the shoulder with a smile and said, "You really know something about Jiang Yandong. Why are you also looking at his fiancé's account? Xian, although you have some ability, you can't have any crooked thoughts, right? This girl is quite pitiful." After a pause, Linley said, originally, she was innocent, but because of the vicious competition in the esports world back then, she was hurt. Fortunately, Jiang Yandong has a conscience and is willing to take care of her for the rest of her life. This was also true. Even if they couldn't beat Jiang Yandong in a fight, they still had a good impression of him. A responsible person would be respected no matter where he went. Don't worry, I'm not. Isn't Jiang Yandong on the list? Lin Xian said calmly, I'm analyzing Jiang Yandong's personality. Perhaps he was pretending in the competition. Now that we're in his social circle, we might be able to find something else. Linley felt that his cousin was crazy. What kind of esports was he playing? He was simply a research maniac. They didn't have the patience to watch all of Jiang Yandong's videos. This kid didn't get tired of watching them. He even made a thick notebook and shared it with them. Needless to say, after watching it, they understood more about Jiang Yandong. They even learned some useful things. Chapter 1978. It's a new day. Brother Yin Dong went to school early. I'm a little worried that his body won't be able to take the training after class. Maybe when Madame Chen comes over, I should ask her to make some soup for Brother Yin Dong to nourish his body. If it's possible, I can make it myself. It's not hot this morning. It's a little cool, but standing on the balcony, I can feel the warmth of the morning sun on my skin. It's a sunny day again. How nice. The fans woke up early in the morning to watch Tangwa's updates. Sure enough, at around 8 o'clock, they posted a video. They clicked on the video. As expected, the best part of the video was not found. Because they were taking photos of the balcony today, it was much better than taking photos of a large area of the wall. Listening to the girl with the sweet and gentle voice speak, they gradually quieted down. Actually, this girl was pretty good. She wasn't as bad as they thought. Many of them were fans of Jiang Yandong later on. They didn't know about their past. Now that Tangwa appeared in the public eye, as long as they followed her regularly, there would definitely be old fans who would talk about her and Jiang Yandong's past in the comments. Naturally, more and more people would know about their past. Being in close contact with such a person, other than crazy fans, no one would have any ill intentions towards this kind and beautiful girl who was wholeheartedly in love with Jiang Yandong. It was only the second day, but the comments below the video's update had become much gentler. There were even people who sent their blessings. There were two very special audience members. One was Xiaolian, and the other was Lin Xian. Today, I plan to watch Brother Yin Dong's competition. Every time, he says that I must inform him when I want to watch. He's so busy. Other than not being able to watch, there's nothing inconvenient about it. If I go quietly, I might even be able to give him a surprise. Many fans were a little annoyed when they saw this. Why didn't they fight for the tickets earlier? But this didn't stop people from going over. They quietly squatted outside the competition venue. Soon, they saw the girl with the guide stick get out of the car and slowly walk over. With a smile on her face, she thanked those who made way for her. Originally, they wanted to go up, but they realized that other than being blind, she really didn't need anyone's help. The people around her only needed to walk carefully and not run. They just needed to give her some space. Lin Xian originally wanted to go up directly, but then he found that those people seemed to know Tanghua and automatically made way for her. At this time, it would not be good for him to go up. However, he still played a trick and changed his ticket. This time, he didn't intend to greet her. Unexpectedly, when he sat down, he heard the girl's voice beside him. "Are you Mr. Lin?" Lin Xian was a little surprised. After confirming that she hadn't seen him, he said, "It's me. How did you know it was me, Miss Tang?" "I smell a faint scent of incense. Every time I come here, I meet many people. However, the faint scent of incense on Mr. Lin's body is very special. No one else has it." "What a coincidence." "It is quite a coincidence. Is Mr. Lin a fan of Brother Yin Dong?" Lin Xian quickly denied it. No, he couldn't possibly be Jiang Yandong's fan. They were rivals. However, Jiang Yandong's days were not peaceful. He would often meet Xiaolian. Although the two of them were not on good terms when they met, for some reason, they were meeting more and more often. Under the system's notification, Tanghua found out that Xiaolian was also playing games. She even became Jiang Yandong's private rival. Of course, Jiang Yandong did not know that the person who was good at playing games was Xiaolian. They were in the same team in the same game. Jiang Yandong used a smuff account and often played in friendly matches. Chapter 1981. There were only a few days left before the exhibition of the Night Luminescent Pearl. Because this was the biggest Night Luminescent Pearl, it had already attracted the attention of all parties. Currently, many people in the city were waiting for the day when the Night Luminescent Pearl would be exhibited. For the exhibition of this Night Luminescent Pearl, the biggest exhibition hall in the city would be opened at night. Because under the lights at night, among the countless jewels, people could clearly see how brilliant and unique this Night Luminescent Pearl was. Using countless jewels to store a Night Luminescent Pearl was also unprecedented. Regardless of whether it was the citizens of the city or those from other cities who came because of its reputation, they were all looking forward to this day. This Night Luminescent Pearl was transported with all kinds of camouflage methods to prevent it from being stolen. After all, this was a special world with martial arts. Even if there were perfect defenses, it would still be easy for it to be stolen. Xiaolian's grandfather used many days to finally determine the real location of the Night Luminescent Pearl. Today, he planned to go and take the Night Luminescent Pearl away. For this, he prepared a lot of things. He even rehearsed it in his head several times. After confirming that there were no loopholes, he secretly went to the place where the Night Luminescent Pearl was stored. Normal defenses could not do anything to him. In addition, there were people who were working with him from the inside and outside, so he understood the situation inside. Breaking through the first few layers of defenses was a piece of cake. Tanghua sat on the sofa in the room with her eyes closed, watching a dark figure jumping up and down in a certain place, constantly avoiding the infrared rays. His figure was strange, and even the camera might not be able to capture it. Compared to Xiaolian, the older the ginger, the wiser. However, under the surveillance of the system, was it useful? When Xiaolian's grandfather walked to the front of the Night Luminescent Pearl and looked at the box, his eyes could not help but reveal a hint of joy. Of course, he did not directly go over to touch it, because this was the most dangerous place. If he reached over directly, the laser line might cut off his hands in an instant. This was not a joke. He had to first destroy the system here, avoid the laser line, and quickly take the night luminescent pearl away. When he came here earlier, the spy had already turned off the cameras. Therefore, even if those people realized that something was wrong, they would not be able to see the situation clearly. In that case, he needed to destroy all the defenses within a minute, take the night luminescent pearl, and escape. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. He had already seen the laser cutting line disappear. He quickly reached for the luminous pearl. However, all the alarms suddenly went off. At the same time, he felt some kind of danger and quickly retracted his hand. However, he still felt a sharp pain coming from his hand. When he looked down, he realized that his hand was injured. A layer of skin had been scraped off the back of his hand. At the same time, the surrounding lights all lit up and focused on him. The place where the night luminescent pearls were stored had also activated the highest level of emergency defense. The surroundings were filled with terrifying lasers, and he had no way of getting there. No, it should be said that the room where the night luminescent pearls were stored was filled with terrifying lasers that could take a person's life. As long as he took a small step, he had no doubt that his leg would be cut off. He had been a godly thief all his life, and came from a family of godly thieves. This was the first time the old man had encountered such a scene. The system was happily controlling everything on the other side, surrounding Shaolian's grandfather in the middle. Chapter 1982. As long as the other party didn't want to die, he couldn't move. Such a big commotion quickly alerted the caretakers. Shaolian's grandfather also didn't expect that he would be caught for stealing a night luminescent pearl. What was more terrifying was that when those people walked up, the laser lines would automatically open up a path. When they walked up to him, they didn't even see him and directly pricked his arm with a needle. When he felt his body go numb and couldn't use any strength, he realized that things were really bad. Previously, he was still thinking about whether he should take advantage of those people to catch him and escape. How did these people become so smart? Without saying a word, they pricked him with a needle and didn't give him any time to react. Thinking about the past, even if the entire city's police force was mobilized, they wouldn't be able to catch him. He turned around and looked at the night luminescent pearl's position, feeling very indignant. Nowadays, technology was developing too quickly. He didn't lose to these people. He was defeated by technology. There really are people who stole the night luminescent pearl. Luckily, that big boss is willing to help us. Yeah, we didn't believe it at first. Luckily, that big boss is very capable. Through a computer, he made our boss believe in his ability. You guys haven't seen the situation inside. That thief is trapped in the laser lines with a helpless expression. He can't even move. Ha ha ha, we've been guarding behind the surveillance cameras. The big boss even told us that there's a spy among us. I didn't expect it to be true. One of the security guards was holding a person who was wearing the same clothes as them. He slapped the back of the young man's head. You brat, you didn't expect the big boss to be so powerful, right? If it wasn't for the big boss's reminder, we really would have fallen into your trap. I didn't expect you to be a spy. The system watched all of this silently. Even if someone was calling him and contacting the temporary account he used previously, he ignored it. Tongzi, the big boss they're talking about is you? The system chuckled. It's me. When I was controlling their defense program, I realized that there were too many loopholes and it wasn't precise enough. It's fine to deal with ordinary thieves, but for a thief like the Xiao group, those things won't work at all. So, I disguised myself and contacted the boss of the security guards. At the same time, I showed my skills and reprogrammed them. Did you see those terrifying laser beams from before? No matter how capable he was still made of flesh and blood. In the dense laser beams, whatever he stretched out his hand would be cut off. Sure enough, that old man is still afraid of death. He doesn't even dare to move. Tanghua couldn't help but laugh. Then, were you the one who suggested giving the thieves anesthetics? That's right, such a powerful thief. I told them that the thief might use their people as hostages to escape. Why don't you prick him with an anesthetic needle when he's not paying attention at the beginning? By the time he realizes what's going on, He'll have no choice but to accept his punishment obediently. Tangwa praised, Tungzi, you're getting smarter with age. I learned all of this from Great Host. Oh right, Great Host. I've also collected a lot of evidence of this thief's previous crimes. I've sorted out the places where he hid his stolen goods and the evidence he left behind after his transactions. Currently, it had already been sent to many people's mailboxes. He probably won't be able to come out. Tangwa, her little Tungzi has turned bad. Chapter 1983. The Night Luminescent Pearl exhibition was just a few days away. After Xiao Lian's grandfather was caught that day, he was secretly kept in custody by the police. Especially when the higher-ups issued an urgent document, they were not allowed to release him regardless of the reason. It was said that this thief might be involved in a bigger case, and they needed time to verify it. This was also related to the disappearance of several precious cultural relics. Xiao Lian's grandfather might not contact Xiao Lian for 10 days to half a month. Naturally, Xiao Lian did not know that her grandfather had been caught because he had failed to steal the night luminescent pearl. Moreover, there were countless pieces of evidence that pointed to him being related to several cases of missing cultural relics. Even if someone knew about it, there was no chance for him to be released on bail. After going to school, Xiao Lian went to the club to train. Her cooperation with Zhang Yandong was getting better and better. Apart from training games, the two of them still did not see eye to eye with each other. They often bickered with each other. But at crucial times, the two of them had a tacit understanding. The so-called relationship was formed by quarreling. Although the two of them still did not see eye to eye with each other, it was still the same. But in their hearts, something had already taken root and sprouted. The system had already told Tangwa all these things. She did not mind at all. She would update her video every day. Her fans had already habitually turned on their phones to watch videos taken from bad locations. Listening to her gentle and sweet voice always made them feel better. From the beginning, they did not approve of her. But now, they liked this simple and infatuated girl from the bottom of their hearts. Her life was really too simple. Apart from eating and sleeping, she would shoot videos and nag at them about Zhang Yandong. Basically, she would go to the club every day. Sometimes, she would ask Zhang Yandong to shoot a video with her. Many times, they realized that she would ask the only female member in the team, Xiao Lian, to shoot videos and take photos. She would even ask them if Xiao Lian was very pretty. Occasionally, she would tell them that Xiao Lian would play with Zhang Yandong in the future. She told them that the coach had said that Xiao Lian and Zhang Yandong's cooperation was perfect. She even said that she was looking forward to that day's competition. At first, they didn't find anything. After all, what Tangwa had shared was about the club. Moreover, all the people that were presented were in that phone frame. Gradually, they began to pay more attention to Xiao Lian. Xiao Lian had a public account, so she naturally gained a wave of fans. Xiao Lian was flattered by the fact that she had gained fans who called her every day. It was the day of the Night Luminescent Pearl exhibition. Chapter 1984. Xiao Lian didn't reject him. She only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. She thought so too. If Tangwa couldn't see and brought her to see the night luminescent pearls, wouldn't that be stabbing her in the heart? Everyone else seemed to be busy today, and Zhang Yandong was going to see the exhibition alone. She felt a little sorry for him. He didn't dare to bring Tangwa to see the exhibition, afraid that he would poke at her sore spot. All right. Although you're usually a little annoying, it's quite pitiful to think that you're going to see the exhibition alone. Because of this sentence, the two of them started fighting again. In the end, they went to the exhibition hall together. The system asked softly. At the same time, it scanned the surroundings to see if a certain guy was around. After a while, it indeed detected a certain guy who was approaching Tangwa. However, that guy didn't seem to be alone today. There were a few young men and women around him. They were all chatting and laughing as they walked over. Lin Xian saw Tang was standing outside the exhibition hall at first glance. He couldn't help but quickly walk in front of her. Just as he was in front of her, he heard her voice. "Mr. Lin, is that you? Ha, you noticed me again. Miss Tang's nose is really sharp." Lin Xian put his hands in his pockets. If it wasn't for his shiny bald head, he would have attracted a lot of attention. Even so, there were still people looking at him because he was too outstanding. A few others also came forward. When they saw Tangua, they looked at each other. Tangua was now an internet celebrity with a lot of fans. They all knew her. Even in the past, they still knew her. Who wouldn't know Jiang Yandong's fiancée? Are you waiting for someone here? Lin Xian asked. Actually, he didn't want to ask this question. Are you here with your fiancé to see the Night Luminescent Pearl exhibition? Lin Li also asked. Did Jiang Yandong, that rascal, go to buy snacks for you? This group was all straight. From his point of view, Tangua was standing at the entrance of the exhibition hall with Jiang Yandong. Why wasn't Jiang Yandong by her side? He must have gone to buy snacks that little girls liked. She was his fiancée. Of course, he had to pamper her and buy her delicious food. Wasn't that what he should do? That brat is too careless. No matter what, he should have brought you along to buy it. There are so many people coming and going. If he lost you, let's see if that brat would be anxious. The reason why Lin Li didn't sound like he hated Jiang Yandong was because Jiang Yandong was willing to take care of Tangua and get engaged to her. Such an opponent was worthy of respect. Tangua smiled and shook her head. No, I didn't come here with Brother Yandong. Before Lin Xian could say anything, Lin Li frowned. It's already so late. Why didn't that kid accompany you here? What is he doing? Lin Xian felt a little helpless. His cousin always snatched the words. Brother Yandong said that he has something to do and will be back a little later today. I was just passing by and heard that there was an exhibition here. It was the world's largest night luminescent pearl. I was a little curious, so I stood here for a while. Tangua had a sweet smile on her face. She said calmly, if I knew that there was such an exhibition, I would have asked Madame Chun to book the tickets for me. Well, I'll go back first. I won't disturb you guys. System, where's the host's conscience? Chapter 1985. Since we're already here, how can we go back? It's a rare night pearl exhibition. If we miss this chance, we don't know when we'll get another one. Lin Li hurriedly said, come in with us. Although it's inconvenient for you, it's still better to be close to it than not. Brother Lei is right. This night pearl will be exhibited in many cities in the country. After the exhibition, it will be hidden away. You won't be able to see it again even if you want to. Since we're already here, let's go in and take a look. Although Brother Lei always stole his words, he was right about what he said earlier. Tangua pursed her lips and said, but I didn't buy a ticket, so I can't go in. System. He seemed to have smelled the scent of a White Lotus host. She was really good at pretending. Tangua, you definitely don't know who this exhibition belongs to, right? The person who spoke was a girl. She walked over and hugged Tangua's arm. She smiled and said, this biggest night pearl belongs to the Lin Group. Hence, the exhibition this time also belonged to the Lin Group. My surname is Lin. My cousins and everyone in our circle have the surname Lin. Do we need a ticket to go in and see the exhibition? Oh right, I'm Lin Tong. We've met before, but not twice. It's been a long time. Do you still remember? We used to participate in a piano competition together. Tangua tried to recall and nodded. I remember. You played the piano quite well. No matter how good I was, I couldn't compare to you. All right, come in with us. We're schoolmates. We competed together, so we can be considered half-friends. To be honest, none of us have seen this night pearl before. The old ones at home are so afraid that something will go wrong. They don't want us to see it. Under Lin Tong's complaints, they pulled Tangua in. Lin Xian was on the other side of Tangua. She couldn't see anything wrong with his face. He didn't talk to Tangua either. It was as if they weren't close. No one knew that he had met Tangua countless times and had told her all kinds of exciting events during the competition. Lin Tong was a very outgoing girl. It should be said that the young boys and girls of the Lin family all had good personalities. Even though Tangua couldn't see, Lin Tong kept holding onto Tangua's hand. Every time they reached a place, she would stop and tell Tangua what the jewelry in front of them looked like. Occasionally, Lin Xian would interject and describe the beautiful jewels to her with the most accurate words. Lin Li would occasionally say a few words, but most of the time, It was Lin Tong and Lin Xian doing the talking. It wasn't until 9:30 that the world's largest luminous pearl was placed at the highest point and presented before everyone's eyes. Under the bright lights, countless people stared at the luminous pearl in a daze, because it was really big and beautiful. After Lin Tong recovered from her shock, she described the scene of the night luminescent pearl to Tanghua. Lin Xian did not fall behind. He added from the side, and even suggested that they take photos of Tanghua. Tanghua directly asked him to help record the video. She stood together with Lin Tong, and behind them was the night luminescent pearl. She smiled at the camera and said, "When I passed by the exhibition hall, I heard that there was a night luminescent pearl on display. I met a schoolmate who invited me in to see the night luminescent pearl very enthusiastically. Although I can't see the night luminescent pearl, from my schoolmate's enthusiasm and description, I know that this pearl must be very beautiful. It's a pity that Brother Yin Dong said that he had something to do and couldn't come. System. This was a good trap." Chapter 1986. Tanghua smiled and even allowed Lin Xian and the rest to show their faces in the video. Even though they were competitors with Zhang Yandong's team, they had no qualms about it at all. They knew Tanghua in the past. Tanghua and Lin Tong were in the same batch and had even participated in a piano competition together. As for the rest, other than Lin Xian, they were all seniors of Tanghua's batch when she was in school. They had all met and known each other before. They did not think that there was anything wrong with their identities appearing in the video. When Tanghua uploaded the video, it was instantly viewed by countless fans. Fan 1. "Oh my god, did you see those familiar faces in the video? Can you believe it?" Fan 2. "Aw, it's actually them." Fan 3. "Why is Xiao Guo with them?" Fan 4. "Didn't you hear what she said just now? She passed by the exhibition hall and bumped into them. I remember that they are all from the same school. That's our Tong Tong. I remember now. Tong Tong said that she used to have a great rival, and that was Xiao Guo." The fans started to talk about it. They remembered that the girl who had lost her eyes was once a talented piano player. Since they were from the same school and knew Lin Tong, it made sense that the rest of them would appear in the video. Fan 5. "Have you seen the exhibition?" Fan 1. "No, I'm busy. I have classes every day. Even if I skip classes, I have to be able to get a ticket." Fan 4. "I'm here. I'm here. I'm going to find Xiao Guo and my beloved Tong Tong now. Since I saw them, I have to get their autographs." Fan 2. "It's a pity that Zhang Yandong is not here. No wonder Xiao Guo is with them. If Zhang Yandong were here, she would be very happy." Unknowingly, the fans' attention had shifted to Tanghua's side. Now everyone knew that Tanghua was with Lin Tong and the rest by chance. She did not come with Zhang Yandong because Zhang Yandong said that he had something to do. Many fans were also in the exhibition hall. However, everyone was busy looking at the exhibition, so not many people noticed the post. At this moment, Zhang Yandong and Xiao Yin gradually moved closer to Tanghua in the crowded exhibition hall. "System, I see. Tongzi, you're becoming more and more considerate. Let's go over there then." System. "All right, this woman is really bad." Tanghua pulled Lin Tong to Zhang Yandong's position without a trace. It's really a pity that Brother Yin Dong didn't come. Otherwise, he would definitely appreciate such a resplendent treasure. Tanghua said with some regret. Lin Tong comforted her. "The exhibition will last for 3 days. He can't possibly be busy during these 3 days, right? If you're really regretful, call me tomorrow night with Zhang Yandong. I'll bring you in." "Thank you so much, Lin Tong." "You're welcome. You're my only opponent." Speaking of this, Lin Tong still felt a little regretful. She was such a good person, but she couldn't see him just like that. It made her feel that something was missing in her piano career. Lin Tong inadvertently raised her head and froze on the spot. When she came back to her senses, she quickly pulled Lin Xian beside her and whispered, "Brother Xian, look at who that is. See if I'm mistaken." Lin Xian raised his head and saw Zhang Yandong and Xiao Yin slowly walking over. His eyes, which had been full of smiles, became cold. "What's wrong?" Tanghua felt that the surroundings had quietened down and asked, "System, excitement, they're here?" Chapter 1988. So, Sister Xiaogua, can you give me an autograph? Tangwa took the pen and said, Of course, but I haven't written in a long time, so I might write crookedly. It's okay, as long as it's written by you. I'll like it. To be honest, they really liked this girl who talked about her daily life every day. Even though she seemed to be mumbling to herself, she could always make people feel that her world was beautiful and pure. Sister Xiaogua, were you guys taking a video just now? Can I take a photo with you guys? Of course. Tangwa didn't refuse. At the same time, she secretly said to the system, Give me Zhang Yandong's location. It'll be a waste if I don't take a photo of him. The system already didn't like Zhang Yandong. That scumbag, he asked for it. He didn't bring his fiancée to the exhibition, saying that she couldn't see and that it would make her sad. In reality, he just didn't want to bring his host here. The system gave Tangwa the location. Lin Tong and the others saw that she was immersed in interacting with her fans and didn't have the heart to disturb her. Lin Xian glanced at Zhang Yandong. Perhaps it was because there were people coming and going, plus Xiaolian was talking to Zhang Yandong about something, and the two of them were taking photos, so Zhang Yandong didn't notice them. It should be said that Zhang Yandong didn't expect that Tangwa would appear here. When Tangwa pulled her fans into the camera, she didn't know if it was a coincidence or not. But her back was facing Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian. Lin Xian looked at the camera and saw that Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian were clearly shown. Even though the video looked small, if it was really taken, attentive fans would definitely realize that it was Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian. Lin Xian had wanted to say something, but Lin Li suddenly grabbed his arm and gave him a meaningful smile. Lin Li even patted him on the shoulder. He instantly understood. Since Zhang Yandong dared to do it, there was no need to be afraid of being photographed. Lin Tong also understood. She took the initiative to let go of Tangwa's arm, intending to make space for Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian to be in the shot. Xiaogua, you and your little fan will be recording a video together. I won't be participating. The camera is only so big. When the little fan heard this, she was very happy and showed a grateful look to Lin Tong. Under the complex and meaningful gazes of the young men of the Lin family, Lin Xian helped Tangwa record a video with her fans. Intentionally or unintentionally, he captured a clear picture of Zhang Yandong. If Brother Yandong was here, I would definitely share it with him. I have a small fan too. When Lin Xian heard this, his hand trembled and he almost dropped his phone. He glanced at the video. With this sentence, he could already imagine what would happen to Zhang Yandong next. Let me help you send it up, Lin Xian said. Tangwa smiled and nodded. Then I'll have to trouble you. Lin Xian helped Tangwa post the video. Although it had just been posted and probably no one would notice anything, he was in no hurry. However, he was not anxious at all. Soon, many people would know what Zhang Yandong was doing today. The little fan was satisfied and planned to leave with the notebook signed by Tangwa and Lin Tong. They didn't expect that when they raised their heads, they would see Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian walking over. The two little fans were stunned on the spot. Is that Zhang Jiang? Yes. The girl tugging on his sleeve is Xiaolian? That's right. Didn't Xiaogua say that Zhang Jiang is very busy today? Yes. Then, why is Zhang Jiang here, and with Xiaolian? Chapter 1989. When the two of them were talking, they didn't lower their voices, so Tangwa could hear them clearly. What are you talking about? Is the Zhang Jiang you're talking about Brother Yandong? Hearing Tangwa's voice, the two fans' expressions changed. Just like Lin Tong and the rest, they didn't know what to say. No matter whether Xiaolian and Zhang Yandong were innocent or not, for Tangwa to be here, it wasn't a happy thing. Not bringing his fiancée to the Night Luminescent Pearl exhibition, but with a female teammate, it was hard not to think about it. Brother Yandong, is that you? I can already smell your scent. Tangwa quickly ran in the direction of Zhang Yandong. Seeing her movements, Lin Xian quickly chased after her, and so did Lin Tong and Lin Lei. They had no choice but to face it now. They thought about it and decided that she had to know about it, even though they didn't know how to deal with it later. Zhang Yandong looked at Tangwa, who had chased after him, and was stunned on the spot. At this moment, Xiaolian was tugging at his arm and saying something. Just now, The two of them had been fooling around because of some small matter. Xiao Guo, Zhang Yandong shouted and asked instinctively, "Why are you here?" "Then where's brother Yindong?" Even though Tangwa couldn't see, she could smell Zhang Yandong's scent and what she had just heard. "Xiaolian is here too, right? She's right beside you, isn't she?" The two little fans next to him had already talked about this matter in the group. They even took a picture of the two of them and explained the cause and effect of the incident. There were quite a lot of Zhang Yandong's fans in this exhibition hall. More and more people gathered around, but they didn't come up to claim it. They all secretly took out their phones and took pictures. Zhang Yandong didn't know that many of the big groups were talking about how he and his female teammate, Xiaolian, had snuck into the exhibition hall and were caught by his fiancée. Combined with the video that Tangwa had posted earlier, regardless of whether Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian were innocent or not, there was no way to erase this scum. Zhang Yandong didn't know what to say. After all, he had called Tangwa and told her that he was very busy today and that he would go back. He wanted her to rest early. Xiaolian had already let go of Zhang Yandong's arm. She didn't do it on purpose. She just couldn't help but tug. Actually, he still had a question in his heart. Had her grandfather not done anything to Yi Mingzhu yet? Maybe he was waiting until the exhibition hall was closed? Now that Tangwa had seen it, she remembered what had happened a few times and felt a little guilty. Seeing that Zhang Yandong didn't know how to answer, she explained, "Xiaogua, don't misunderstand." Zhang Yandong finished his work and someone gave him 2 tickets. It was very late, and he thought you were asleep. If you didn't come, it would be a waste. So we came. Yes, Xiaogua. It's like this. You have to believe me. Zhang Yandong continued. She's Xiaolian's teammate. If it weren't for the fact that these tickets are more precious and there's no one else here, I definitely wouldn't have come with her. Tangwa said very calmly, "Brother Yindong, you should know that even if it's early in the morning, if you want to come, just give me a call, and I'll come to accompany you to watch the exhibition. Even if I can't see it, I'm still happy that you can see it. Why didn't you call me when you got the tickets?" Chapter 1990. Zhang Yandong saw that there were more and more people around them. He walked up to Tangwa and said in a low voice, "Let's go back first, okay? Brother Yindong, you haven't answered my question. Why didn't you give me a call when you got the ticket? It's not too late now. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. I heard that this exhibition is very special. For the safety of Night Luminescent Pearl, there's a time limit for entry. If you miss the time, you can't enter again. This means that you've already entered before 7 o'clock. Is 7 o'clock late? And you're not allowed to go out in the middle of the exhibition either, unless the exhibition ends. I remember that you called me at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know my schedule. Under normal circumstances, I only go to bed between 10 o'clock and 10:30. Zhang Yandong was speechless. That's right. Why was she so clear? He looked at the few young men and women from the Lin family standing behind Tangwa and instantly understood. It was no surprise that someone from the Lin family had brought her in. "Xiaogua, I was just afraid that you wouldn't be able to see Night Luminescent Pearl and would be disappointed. That's why I didn't dare to call you. Don't you understand that whether I can see the beauty of this world or not, as long as you're by my side, I'll think that this world is beautiful? You'd rather bring Xiaolian here than ask me. Brother Yindong, you've disappointed me." This scene was captured by some fans and passers-by. It didn't take long for it to be posted on social media and was watched by many people. "Xiaogua, Brother Yindong, do you think that I'm trouble? No. If you only chose to get engaged to me because of guilt, you still have a chance to regret it now. Although I really want to be with you and spend the rest of my life with you, I don't want to be a heavy burden to you. Xiaogua, let's go back. Brother Yindong, the exhibition closes at 12 o'clock. You're not allowed to go out in the middle. It's rare to see such a grand occasion. Take a good look at the exhibition. You can also think about the problem between us. If you really think that I'm a burden, then let's call off the engagement. I don't want to be a burden to you." After Tangwa finished speaking, she ignored Zhang Yandong. Lin Tong hurriedly came up and held her arm. "Come and play with us." "All right. Lin Tong, you didn't know what to tell me when you saw Brother Yindong and the others, right?" Lin Tong was silent for a moment as she looked at Lin Xian. Lin Li didn't know what to say. After a pause, he replied, "Yes. You said before that he was very busy, so we didn't know what to say to you. You can just tell me directly. Although I can't see, I don't want anyone to hide the truth from me. Maybe I'm really a burden to Brother Yin Dong. It's just that some of the things I did before made him feel guilty and burdened. If he only got engaged to me out of guilt, it would have been better to make things clear from the start." Lin Tong said softly, "I'm just afraid that you'll be sad. Everyone knows that you like Jiang Yandong a lot. If Brother Yin Dong only felt guilty towards me, I would still know." Lin Tong added, "I don't think there's anything between him and Xiao Yin. As for their relationship, it's probably just a misunderstanding." Tanghua didn't say anything. She lowered her head and smiled. Chapter 1991. They weren't even together yet, but they had to bear the pressure and public opinion. If Xiaoyan really didn't have any thoughts about Zhang Yandong, then she could just turn around and leave at this time and resume her normal life. She wouldn't be involved in this, and she would be able to easily break out of this situation. But Xiaoyan wouldn't leave. The members of the team wouldn't let her go. Zhang Yandong wouldn't let her go either. Because at this time, Zhang Yandong thought that there was nothing between him and Xiaoyan. He wasn't afraid of others seeing it. But when Xiaoyan was being criticized and looked pitiful, wouldn't Zhang Yandong comfort her and take care of her? Would he gradually realize that he actually liked Xiaoyan? Liking Xiaoyan was true love. It was a passionate love. At that time, one side would be filled with guilt and responsibility, while the other side would be true love. Under normal circumstances, the male lead would choose true love. Because often at this time, Xiaoyan would be in danger and Zhang Yandong would release his hidden love. At that time, he would realize that he loved Xiaoyan so much that he wouldn't care about public opinion. He would rather be scolded and choose to be with Xiaoyan. Tanghua had been waiting for this day. If Zhang Yandong were to be a good person, then she would have lost. "Zhang Yandong, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come," Xiaoyan said with some self-blame as she watched Tanghua, Lin Tong, and the others leave. Zhang Yandong shook his head. "Xiaogua is more sensitive because she can't see. This isn't your fault. I didn't consider this. I made you suffer tonight. Please don't take it to heart." "I don't mind at all. She clearly misunderstood. You can talk to her when we get out. Let's not walk too far. It's not good if people see us. There's nothing between us. We're teammates. Why can't we be together? It's easier for people to misunderstand if we keep hiding." Zhang Yandong said frankly, "There are only 2 hours left. Since we're already here, let's continue watching. As for Xiaogua, I'll explain it to him when I get back." She wasn't like that before. Don't be angry. After all, she can't see, so she might think too much. How can I be angry? I just hope that you two can reconcile soon. After talking for a long time, the two of them continued to look at the exhibition together. They had no idea that there was a huge argument going on social media and in some groups. They were all talking about how Zhang Yandong went to the exhibition with the opposite sex and abandoned his fiancée at home. Who would have thought that he would be caught by his fiancée in the exhibition hall? The video of their conversation was also recorded. Tanghua's previous video was also viewed by many people. When they discovered that in one of the videos, they could vaguely see Zhang Yandong and Xiao Lian fooling around in the back, their expressions were very strange. In just a few short days, the news of the esports genius Zhang Yandong falling in love with someone else spread like wildfire online. Before the exhibition hall was closed, Tang called Zhang Yandong and told him that she was going to Lin Tong's house as a guest and would not be going back. She told him to go back alone and to think about their relationship. Zhang Yandong really did not expect that things would turn out like this. All along, Tanghua had been very obedient in front of him. After leaving the exhibition hall, Xiao Lian kept apologizing to Zhang Yandong, saying that it was all her fault. "Xiaogua and I were at odds. It has nothing to do with you. It's late. Let's go back." Chapter 1992. The next day, Zhang Yandong was already being scolded on the internet for being a jerk. The gaming circle was actually a very small circle for ordinary people. This was the first time the club had encountered something like this. They didn't expect it to reach such a stage. The entire internet was talking about how Jiang Yandong was a jerk who had betrayed his fiancée. Seeing this, they naturally knew that for such a huge commotion to occur, it was definitely done deliberately by someone. Ever since that incident, Jiang Yandong had indeed quieted down a lot. Now that the other party had found a weakness, they would definitely try their best to slander Jiang Yandong. Early in the morning, Jiang Yandong was called to the club. At the same time, Xiaolian was also called over. Previously, when the two of them were fighting, they didn't think much of it. The coach was still regretting that if Jiang Yandong didn't have a fiancée, he could have formed a couple with Xiaolian. Perhaps it would have attracted a lot of people. Now, the situation was not good for Jiang Yandong. They had already tried their best to suppress the public opinion online, but Tangwa's videos proved that Jiang Yandong had used the excuse that he was busy to go to the exhibition with Xiaolian. It was clearly filmed. The entire club was a little quiet. "Boss, I'm sorry. I didn't expect it to blow up." Jiang Yandong put down his phone. "And Xiaolian, I caused you to be scolded by everyone." Xiaolian also felt wronged. Now, everyone on the internet was calling her a mistress, a white lotus, saying that she had ruined other people's relationships. She clearly didn't do anything. Wasn't she just invited to the Night Pearl exhibition? Now, this matter has to be resolved. The one who started the trouble should end it. "We have to let Xiaogua do it," the coach said. "Have you explained it to her clearly?" Jiang Yandong, yesterday, she said she was going to Lin Tong's house as a guest. "I just asked Madam Chun, and she's not back yet. She's probably angry. It's also my fault. I have indeed neglected her. You think that just because she can't see, you can't bring her to the exhibition." Tong Hui, who was sitting by the side, looked at the scolding online and couldn't help but say, "What good does it do for her to blow things up like this? You're being scolded, but she's also being implicated. She's too insensible. There's nothing between you and Xiaolian. How could there be a problem?" When Yunyang also said, "Coach, how should we resolve this matter? It won't be long before Lian's debut. If we don't resolve this, it will have a huge impact on her and our team. Yindong, let's get Xiaogua to come over and talk to her. She probably doesn't know about the situation on the internet. We've explained the pros and cons to her, so she should know what to do." The most important thing now was to get Tangwa to delete those videos. When Tangwa received the call from Coach Jiang Yandong, she was not surprised. "I don't want to go home now." It was like a little girl throwing a tantrum. After blowing things up and not going home, Tangwa wanted to let everyone know that no matter how gentle a person was, there would be a time when they would lose their temper. She wanted everyone to understand that when she was not sure what Jiang Yandong was doing and neglected her, she would be upset and angry. When she was angry and upset, she had to vent it out and let everyone know. It was very uncomfortable to be alone. She was the one who was upset, so she might as well vent it out and let everyone be unhappy. "Then let's talk outside, okay? The current situation is not good for Yindong. Xiaogua, I know you're very angry, but I also believe that you don't want Yindong to be hurt." In the end, Tangwa agreed. Lin Tong said that she wanted to accompany Tangwa. Lin Xian also wanted to go, but after thinking about it, he felt that at this time, he had to avoid arousing suspicion. Tangwa said, "Tongzi, spread the news that Jiang Yandong's coach wants to talk to me in private." "System, got it, host." Tangwa smiled. "I'll do as the coach says. They will probably ask me to delete the video of that night and post that I'm on good terms with Jiang Yandong and that it was a misunderstanding. But what if the majority of the netizens know that the coach wants to talk to me in private and even recorded our conversation? System, damn, this woman is so bad." Chapter 1993. Tangwa and Jiang Yandong's coach, Lu Hong, had agreed to meet at a cafe. Lin Tong accompanied Tangwa, and when they arrived, Lu Hong was already waiting for them. Lin Tong held Tangwa's arm and whispered in her ear, "Only Lu Hong is here. I don't see Jiang Yandong." Lin Tong was a little unhappy. It was clearly Jiang Yandong who was in the wrong. It wasn't Tangwa's fault at all. She was a person with poor eyesight, and she liked Zhang Yandong wholeheartedly. She had eaten too much, so she did something bad to him. If it wasn't because he was dirty, would it have blown up so much? Take last night as an example. It was clearly his fault. Tangwa should have been angry. Who would have thought that when Tangwa asked him to calm down, Zhang Yandong really didn't come and continued to watch the exhibition with Xiaolian? It was really infuriating. Now that the matter had blown up, it was difficult for the club to clean up the mess. They had to find Tangwa to clarify the matter. And the result? Zhang Yandong actually didn't show up. Only his coach, Lu Hong, came. Brother Yin Dong didn't come? Tangwa's footsteps paused. Her position wasn't far from Lu Hong. Lu Hong could clearly hear her words. His expression was a little uncomfortable. Lin Tong's tone was a little unpleasant. He didn't come. She pulled Tangwa to sit down and glanced at Lu Hong. Why don't you ask Coach Lu Hong why Zhang Yandong didn't come? Now that the matter has blown up and Xiaoguo wants to clarify the matter, he didn't come himself. What's the meaning of this? Lu Hong hurriedly said, Xiaoguo, don't take it to heart. There is indeed a reason why Yin Dong didn't come. Currently, there are many crazy fans who are squatting at the club. They have been crowding there since early morning, clamoring to seek justice for you. Look at how big the matter has blown up. We were afraid that the previous incident would happen again and cause irreparable harm to Yin Dong. So we had no choice but to ask you out. If we don't clarify this matter properly, many people will continue to misunderstand. Brother Yin Dong, did he say anything? Tangwa did not answer. Instead, she asked, I asked him to consider the issue between us yesterday. Has he considered it? Lu Hong hesitated for a moment before saying, Xiaoguo, this relationship was originally a private matter between the both of you. However, the current situation has already affected Yin Dong in all aspects. Next month, there will be a very important match. It will be Yin Dong and Xiaolian's first match together. It will be a very important event for them and even the club. What do you want to say? Tangwa stopped smiling and asked in a flat tone. What I mean is that we should first resolve the misunderstanding and comfort the fans. You don't want Yin Dong to be criticized and put in danger, do you? You should know how crazy those fans are. Lu Hong sighed. Yin Dong is really a genius. He's only 19 years old this year, and he still has a long way to go in the esports industry. I can't just stand by and watch his future be affected because of such a small matter. Coach Lu Hong, are you trying to say that all of this is my fault? That I will ruin Brother Yin Dong's future? Tangwa held the coffee cup with both hands and said in a flat tone, How can I, who can't see, affect Brother Yin Dong? Or does everyone think that the two of us are not compatible at all? No, that's not what I mean. The two of you are the most suitable couple. Lu Hong realized that no matter how obedient and gentle a person was, when they were unreasonable, it was very troublesome. Chapter 1994. Then what does Coach Lu Hong mean? On one hand, you said that Brother Yin Dong is being criticized and needs me to do something. You even seem to be blaming me. On the other hand, you said that we are the best match. Can you explain it more clearly? You know that I can't see. I don't know anything that happens on the internet. Lu Hong was slightly stunned. He looked at Tangwa's lifeless eyes and didn't know what to say for a moment. He suddenly remembered that this girl in front of him had lost her precious eyes for Zhang Yandong. His gaze unconsciously fell on Tangwa's hands that were holding the coffee cup. He could see that there were some faint scars on her delicate hands. Although they were very faint, he could see them at a glance if he looked closely. Right now, everyone on the internet is scolding Zhang Yandong for abandoning his fiancée and going on a date with another girl. They are scolding him so badly that they even want to boycott him. Ever since Yin Dong entered the esports scene, he has received many praises and is loved by many people. Originally, he and Xiaolian were innocent. However, because of a small misunderstanding yesterday, the two of them were scolded by the netizens and had a great impact on them. What I mean is, can Xiaoguo release a statement to say that everything that happened yesterday was a misunderstanding? As for other things, after this incident passes, you and Yin Dong can sit down and talk about it slowly. What do you think? For a moment, both parties fell into silence. Lin Tong felt that there was a fire burning in her heart. These people were only thinking about Zhang Yandong and Xiao Lian being wronged and criticized. Did they think about Xiaoguo? Even at that time yesterday, Zhang Yandong and Xiao Lianqing were innocent. He was the one who deceived Xiaoguo. He bought a ticket and didn't bring his fiancée. He told her that he was busy and turned around to bring a woman to the exhibition. No girl would be able to accept such a thing if it happened to her. Did they not think that from the beginning to the end, the one who was wronged was actually Tangua? As for Zhang Yandong and Xiao Lian, they were just reaping what they had sown. Who told them to go to the exhibition together for no reason? Who asked Zhang Yandong to not care about Tangua? Who asked him and Xiao Lian to secretly watch the exhibition and were even seen by Xiaoguo and many other fans? Who asked him to be unrepentant after being seen by others? Thinking that he was not in the wrong, he continued to watch the exhibition with Xiao Lian with a clear conscience, leaving his fiancée aside and not caring about her. In summary, Zhang Yandong deserved it. Xiaoguo, I'm sure you don't want to ruin Yandong just because of some rumors, right? It had not been easy for him to get to where he was today. I believe you. You definitely don't want to see him in a difficult situation. Tangua smiled faintly. Chapter 1995. Lu Hong was stunned for a moment. This sudden turn of events left him a little at a loss. He looked at the beautiful girl in front of him. If it weren't for her lifeless eyes, she would definitely be even more outstanding. He thought that she had said those words because she didn't want to help Zhang Yandong clarify things. He didn't expect that there would be such a twist in the end. Even if she was angry, she didn't want to see him in a bad state. He suddenly didn't know how to express his feelings. How much did she like him to be able to tolerate this? Thinking about it from another perspective, he guessed that any girl wouldn't be able to accept what had happened yesterday. It was reasonable for her to be angry. Then what should I do, Coach Lu Hong? I just need to post a status update to clarify things? Lu Hong reacted. It would be best if you could delete the 2 videos from yesterday. He looked at Tangua, trying to discern something from her expression. Okay. Tangua unlocked her phone and handed it to Lin Tong. Little Tong, please help me delete these 2 videos. And then, Coach Lu Hong, what should I do next? Lu Hong looked at Tang with serious expression and said with difficulty, post a status update to clarify that yesterday was a misunderstanding. Okay. Tangua asked again, apart from this, do you need to go to the club and clarify things with the fans outside? Of course, it would be best if you could do that. Lu Hong answered quickly without thinking. If Tangua was willing to go directly to the club and meet with Zhang Yandong, the fans wouldn't have such a big opinion when they saw that the 2 of them had reconciled. Yesterday was a very small matter to begin with. Someone had used it to make a big fuss and wanted to destroy Zhang Yandong. If Tangua went, everyone would come to their senses for her sake. If Zhang Yandong really had something going on with Xiaolian, how could he have openly watched the exhibition in the exhibition hall? Then I'll take a video as I walk. Tell the fans that I'm going to look for brother Yandong now. What happened yesterday was just a small misunderstanding between couples. It's not as serious as you think. Lin Tong held Tangua's arm and stood up. She helped turn on the camera and listened to her say, I thought about it for a while. What happened yesterday was indeed a small misunderstanding. Brother Yandong explained to me yesterday that he didn't tell me about the exhibition hall because he was afraid that I wouldn't be able to see the beautiful night luminescent pearls and feel regretful. It would make me unhappy, so he told a white lie. And he and little Lien appeared in the exhibition hall at the same time. They are teammates. If something really happened, they wouldn't dare to appear there openly. I often go to the club, and I'm good friends with Xiaolian. I believe that there's nothing going on between them. So, this is a small conflict between me and brother Yandong. Everyone, please don't misunderstand. Now, I'm going to the club to look for brother Yandong. I heard that he can't come out. I'm really worried about his safety. After this video was posted, the fans heard Tangua's words and it caused another commotion. Although they were still dissatisfied with Zhang Yandong, because Tangua couldn't see, she was a weakling. Everyone didn't go overboard with their words. As for Jiang Yandong and Xiaolian, they were indeed teammates. Even if the scene shown in the video didn't look ambiguous, it was so open and above board. There was probably nothing going on. They chose to believe it for now and see what would happen next. Of course, there were still many people who scolded Jiang Yandong for being a jerk. In short, they slashed half of it. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.